The Arizona Cardinals made a rare, impactful addition post-draft by signing veteran receiver Zay Jones to a one-year contract worth $4.25 million. It further solidifies the receiving core, which has already got a very high ceiling, giving Kyler Murray arguably his best supporting cast throughout his 6-year career. What should the expectations be for this group? I'll try to break it down in this video. If you enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You can't address the receiving core without mentioning the tight ends and the running backs, which the Cardinals should rank near the top when it comes to receptions from both of these position groups. James Conner, Trey Benson, Michael Carter, and Amari DiMercato are all very capable pass catchers out of the backfield. JC and Benson should both be prominent figures in what this offense does, not only on the ground, but also throughout the air. And then we get to a guy who has a good chance to be the number one pass catcher for this offense in the upcoming season. Trey McBride is an emerging superstar. If he can follow up his production from the end of 2023, the league is in trouble. His connection with Kyler was evident from the start, as in Murray's return, number 85 became the first Cardinals tight end to eclipse 100 yards in a game since 1989, when Rob Awalt accomplished the feat. McBride ended the year with 825 yards, 538 of which came with Murray under center. Obviously, it's a small sample size, but still encouraging for McBride. And keep your eye out, as I'll have a video about Trey McBride coming very soon. Now moving on to the receiving core, and we're going to start with the returning players. Michael Wilson had a few injury concerns last season, but when he was on the field, he showed flashes of what he's capable of. And if he can stay there, he's not only a starter, but a potential breakout player. It's important to keep in mind that he never had training camp with Kyler last year. They had to develop a connection that was in the middle of the season. And yes, there were some growing pains, but that's expected. Murray was just back from a very serious injury, and Michael Wilson was still a rookie trying to figure it out in the NFL. I'm not worried about the connection, and I think that they'll be a big-time threat this season. Next up, Greg Dortch. Greg Dortch is back. If you have seen any of my videos before, you know how much I love Greg Dortch. I literally don't think that I've made a single video about the Cardinals where I haven't mentioned him, and I'm very excited to see what he will do as a full-time wide receiver this year. He earned playing time late in the season last year, but was primarily a return man. But not anymore. The starting slot receiver role belongs to Greg Dortch. Sporting a new number this year, no longer having to compete with Rondale Moore for playing time, and I am so excited to see how he performs in a full season on an NFL offense. Quickly worth noting, Zach Pascal. He didn't see the field much last year, so I don't know if we can put any expectations on him this season, but he's still under contract, he's a veteran, and he's depth at the position, so he's worth mentioning in the video. Now to the additions. Since taking over, Monty Austinford has made it a priority to surround Murray with talent. But there's a specific trend. In 2023, the team had just 2 wide receivers over 6 feet tall. This year is a totally different story. Zay Jones is a perfect fit for this team. But even more surprising, he picked the Cardinals over the Kansas City Chiefs. A former second-round pick to the Bills in 2017, since then he has spent time with the Raiders and the Jags, and he has gone over 500 yards in a season 3 times in his career. At just 29 years old, he's not a veteran receiver who will just act as a mentor. He's going to make an impact here. Without a doubt, he was the best remaining free agent wide receiver. Definitely not expected to be the number 1, but he will have an impact on this team this upcoming season, and I think he's a great add. I've already talked extensively on this channel about Marvin Harrison Jr. However, there are a few questions to answer. Most notably is, how much can we realistically expect from him? To be the number one receiver as soon as you're drafted isn't easy, but rather than saying it's a tough position to be in, I'm going to say it's a unique opportunity for a player who has been proven to be very opportunistic. There is pressure, but I think the possible benefits outweigh it. He should hit the ground running, have a great rookie season, and exceed all expectations. However, by adding Zay Jones, the Cardinals will be far less reliant on the rookie. It answers the question of how good will the Cardinals need Marvin Harrison Jr. to be, and that's why Zay Jones is such a great signing. Now, remember when I said that this is Kyler's best supporting cast yet? Well, let's compare it to each year of his career so far. En route to Rookie of the Year honors in 2019, Murray's leading receiver was a 36-year-old Larry Fitzgerald, who was one of 5 players with 20 or more receptions on the team. In 2020, the offense was significantly boosted thanks to the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, who went for more than 1,400 yards in his first season as a Cardinal. It was the only time that Kyler Murray has ever played with a 1,000-yard receiver. 2020 had a core that was much more rounded, as Christian Kirk emerged as a threat. But the fall off from Hopkins at first place to Christian Kirk at second place is hard to ignore. So in 2021, when the Cardinals season started undefeated, the wide receiver core obviously looked better. Plus the addition of Zach Ertz. However, nobody went over 1,000 yards. And in 2022, it was more of the same. Despite going out and acquiring Hollywood Brown, between the DeAndre Hopkins suspension and Hollywood's injuries, the newly formed duo only was able to take the field in a full game with Kyler at quarterback once, and it was the week before Murray's season-ending injury. That's something that I'll never really be able to recover from, the amount of hype that was around that offseason, being able to go out and get a guy who played with Kyler in college and they had such a great connection then. The expectations that season were very high, and then right at the start of the season when Nuke got suspended, it all went downhill, and that's a very big disappointment. Then in the 2023 season, it was too small of a sample size to tell, as Murray returned late in the season. I'm not saying that this core that they have in 2024 will outproduce any of the ones in the past. On paper, Arizona has had some very good offenses, but they haven't been able to reach their full potential over the course of a full season. On paper, the Arizona Cardinals in 2024 have the most potential. Let's hope that they can put it all together on the field and stay healthy. It is worth noting that despite the fact this video was primarily about the passing game for the Arizona Cardinals, I think that despite having all these weapons, Arizona is going to be a run-first team, which opens up a ton more play actions and rolling Kyler Murray out, which excites a lot of fans. Being able to see him under center with a small sample size last season with James Conner running downhill, that will be something that will never get old, and hopefully we see a ton of it in 2024. Drew Petzing has a lot to work with, and I'm excited to see how the offense performs in the upcoming season. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy the Cardinals content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.